This is your real estate talk show. That's right. You're here. You're with us today. That's a good thing. It's better to be with us today than with nobody tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to have you guys on. We've got some important conversations to have today. Some conversations that are always about what should you be doing. And I want to talk about what you should be doing, especially with your investing, with how you're investing. You know, should you be going after single families? Should you be going after single families? Or should you be going after small apartments? All right. We're just checking the audio. Audio check. Let me know if you can hear me out there, Facebook world. Loud and clear. All right, good job. So today is all about investing in your life, investing in your future, and how are you going to choose to invest? Let me turn my audio down. And what it is how are you investing? How are you diversifying? You know, a lot of people say, well, Zach, I want to go buy single families. Well, we're going to talk about single families. And the other one is I want to invest in apartments. So we're going to talk about small apartments. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to talk about everything in between and what you should be aware of in both worlds, whether it be small apartments or whether it be single families. And there are some advantages to both of them. And we're going to talk about those. So, all right. So listen, you're joining me. I'm glad to have you. It is the top of the half of the hour here, and we are going live on Facebook with you today. And we do it every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. So I welcome you to the show. This is your real estate coach, Zach Childress, and I'm happy to be here today. And we also have the lovely Jill in the back. Say hi, Jill.
Hello.
Hello. So some of you were with me this weekend. Yes, I don't stop. I go, because why? I got a message to get out there, and you're helping me create that message, okay? So do me a favor. If you're first timer on here, tell me you're a first timer. Tell me where you're from. I want to know who you are. I want to know where you're from in the world. So go ahead, start talking to me about that. And I want to just know where all the people are coming from. You know, it's always amazing, Jill, when people start telling us where they're from. We get them from all over the place.
I know, we're global.
Can we say that one more time? We're global.
So I want to start this off with you real quick and let you know.
With me?
Yeah.
You going to start it off with me?
Yeah, I'm going to take over.
You're going to interview me?
Your job today.
You're going to interview me?
So, Misty Wellborn is on here.
Misty Wellborn.
Yes. So, I have been talking to Misty for a bit over a year.
Oh, wow.
And she's involved in some of your programs.
Awesome.
So, I just wanted to give you a heads up so you could give her a shout out, say hello, and congratulate her because she is actually in her very first deal right now.
Well, my first deal. Can we get a congratulations to Misty? And I'm happy that you're following us, Misty, and I'm happy that we're helping you, and I'm happy that you're getting your first deal done. That's what I'm talking about. You know, it's all about that first deal. If you can just get that first deal done, then you will be able to understand what you got to do to get the second deal done, the third deal done. So welcome, Misty. Has Misty been on here before?
She has never been on here before.
So Misty has not only been being trained by me, but she ain't never been on my Facebook page. Man, Misty, this is good. We got a great community here. Everybody say hi to Misty. Tell her great job for getting her first deal done. I'm proud that I had something to do with that, Misty, and I appreciate you sharing your story with Jill so that she could share it with all of us, okay? That's awesome.
She's been in your inner circle.
And the inner circle is our group coaching. That's what that is. So it's all about helping people get the coaching they need by getting the answers they need and, you know, to get them started. We just gave Toby 3 months 3 months of the Inner Circle group coaching. Because why? Because Toby's a super fan. She's always on here. She's always encouraging other people, and she's always doing what she needs to do to keep moving forward.
So we have Steve on here today.
Steve!
Francesca.
Francesca.
I think I'm saying that wrong.
We'll just call her Francesca.
Soledad is here.
Oh,
She said,
Soledad.
"Here you go,
Look,
Zach."
Soledad, you can't get enough of me. You just spent all weekend with me. Liddy?
Cruz, she's here. Ariana from this past weekend is here. She says hello, Zach and Jill.
Ariana.
Scott says, hell, Zach and Jill. And then
Hey.
he said, I meant to say hello.
Oh, way to go. Way to go.
Kimberly is here.
Good. Hey, who's new? Who's new? Let's see who our new people are.
I got one right here.
Give me a new person.
John Winnipia.
John Winnipia? Hey,
I
John,
forgot.
welcome to the show, buddy. This is a good spot for you. Here's why. We do this every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern time zone, John. What's this show all about on Tuesdays? It's all about real estate investing talk. Well, you know, we got to give time to let everybody get on. Let me say my highs to everybody and all that good stuff. But we're going to do a big show today. It's going to be talking about investing in single families versus investing in apartments, small apartments.
We have, and he's from Cape Cod.
Cape Cod. How about
Angel's
that?
here.
My New Yorker's in the house. I spent this weekend with him too.
Winston is here. He's
Winston.
in Austin by way of Detroit, he says.
Austin by way of Detroit. That's a long way around to get back to Detroit, man. Oh, did I just see AC Johnson pop on here?
Good. Yeah.
Mr.
AC's here.
AC Johnson's on here.
We have Chai from Florida. He said he saw you a couple years back in Tampa.
Well, thank you for staying with me for these couple of years, my friend. I appreciate that.
Toby, she said, oh my Lord, it was the most wonderful weekend of my life in Dallas, Texas at the Freedom from Flipping. Robin.
It's life-changing, guys.
Robin
Life-changing.
Ringette, she's here.
Oh, Robin.
Jeffrey Don Lee. Jeffrey Lee from Austin, Texas. I'm not new, but first time on Facebook watcher.
Well, welcome, Jeffrey. This is where it hits the road right here, man. This is about as live as you can get it right here because, why? I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to talk to you. So just think about this. This is your real estate talk show right here, okay? Tomorrow, we go Wednesdays at 1:30. We do that as our Dig Deeper series. We're always digging deeper into something. It could be you. It could be a lot of different things, but it's about digging deeper. But today's about real estate, man. Today's about you and your real estate and about what you're doing. So if you guys got real estate questions, do not sit back and not ask it, because as you guys that have been with me for a while on Tuesdays, we also have to turn into our podcast and our blog talk radio and all that other good stuff. So while I'm doing the lesson and I take breaks from that, I come back here while you guys are watching and I answer your real estate questions. So what's it say?
Lou says, when is Zach going to be back in Tampa? I couldn't make it to the Texas event.
Tampa, man. I don't know when I'm coming back to Tampa.
I would be down for Tampa in January. That would be...
I think we're going to California in January.
No, February.
February.
I'd be down for a vacation. Maybe I'll just come stay with you, Lou. Go to the beach. Bob Spurn is here. He says, nice information.
Good job, Bob.
I would want to just give everybody a shout out before we got to get on there. Rick says, Rick from St. Peters, Missouri.
Rick, welcome to the show. You guys are piling on here. Listen, we always have a goal here on our real estate investing talk show, and that is to help you succeed. That's our ultimate goal. And at the same time, we just want to create ripples, and you guys can help me create ripples. All of you that are getting shout outs and saying hi and telling me where you're from, remember, the message that we create here through all the training and all the free information is meant for you to grow, but it's also meant for you to share with other people so that they can grow too. You know, I'm sure you've got family or friends that, are trying to figure out how to make a little extra money on the side. How could I make $20,000 to, pay off some college debt or pay off some credit card debt? Well, real estate can help them do that. And if you share the message, you're not just helping yourself now. Now you're helping others achieve what they want out of life, because now you can start dropping seeds. And that's what's most important, is the seeds that we drop along our journey to help others, get where they want to be. And so, my goal is to help more people this year than I did last, and to help more people next year than I did this year. And I can't do that without help. I can't do that without my team. I can't do that without you guys helping share the message. And so what does that mean? That means hit that share button. Get this out there. Let everybody else hear it. Let them know, hey, there are ways to start to generate profitable income through real estate if they stay safe, they do it right, and they need the knowledge base to know the difference. Like, for instance, our show today is all about single families versus small apartments, as in rentals, cash flow, and what does that look like for you, and how is that going to unfold in your life, and which one should you be going after first, and so forth. And so your questions are welcomed. I appreciate it. There again, I'm always looking to see who our new people are. I always like giving the big shout outs to our new people, because you guys are special. Because why? You're just now joining us. You're just now joining the movement. You're just now becoming part of our real estate investing talk show. And I think that's valuable to us as a company, me as an educator. So if you're just joining me, this is Zach Childress. I am your real estate coach, and I'm here to help you grow, learn, and inspire you to do more each and every day than you've done before. And I can do that if you actively participate with me by telling me who you are, where you're from, asking me questions, supporting other people on this page and supporting other people in these threads. That's what Toby did. That's how she won 3 months of Inner Circle group coaching, because she's always on here supporting you guys. She's somebody that sees the value and wants you to see it too. And so I encourage you all to be actively participating. You never know when I'm going to do something special for you.
So before we go into our blog talk here, Rudy is actually asking, do you recommend we purchase the Really Flip Now?
No.
I wanted you to address that before we went in there.
I'm just telling you. Is that Buddha?
A Buddha.
Oh, that's what
his that's his first name. Says Buddha from Cali. How do I get started in real estate? And has been a lifelong dream of mine, and I have nothing right now but the desire to do it.
You can't forget that name, Buddha.
So we are actually going to have to go.
All right, let's go.
Air.
Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Hey, guys, we're going to go on the show. Listen up. We got lots of great stuff to talk about, and then I'm going to come back and answer your questions as you're typing them in. So let's get this show rocking.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, this is Zach Childress, your real estate coach, coming to you back again with your real estate investing talk show. And I'm excited about this show because this is the one you need to pay attention to. This is the one that's going to help you understand what the assets are that you need to be going after. Listen, in our life and in our journey, we're always looking for an advantage when it comes to financial income. We're always looking for a way to create some security with extra income. We're always looking for a way to either decrease expenses or increase revenue. And sometimes in a position when you're working 9 to 5, you don't always have that avenue unless you have some type of commission base, or you've gotten wise and you've started to build a real estate rental portfolio. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I don't care if you're brand new, if you're seasoned, or if you've been doing it for a day, or if you've been doing it for 10 years. You need to listen when it comes to building portfolios, because that's the way that you create that extra income that subsidizes your living, subsidizes your, I had a big bill this month, or subsidizes, I want to go on a big fancy vacation. So if you understand what I'm saying, then you need to just listen up, because you also need to be aware that if you're listening to me on the radio, or if you're listening to me on the podcast, podcast, you need to be on my Facebook Live show. That's where you get to interact with me personally. You get to ask questions. You get to let me know if you're listening or if you're hearing me. You know, if you're digging what I'm putting down. You know what I'm saying? You need to be over there. That's REISuccessacademy.com/Facebook. That's REISuccessacademy.com/Facebook. So join us over there. Be part of it, because my Facebook family, man, these guys are the great of all students, okay? They're on here, they're digging the information, they're feeding it, they're saying hi to everybody, they're giving lots of kudos to everybody, they're inspiring everybody to do more each and every day. It's a movement, and so I encourage you to join that. Go to REISuccessacademy.com/Facebook, okay? So be part of that. Hey, listen, if you're just joining me and you're trying to figure out who I am, who's this guy, who am I watching on Facebook, or who am I listening to on the radio right now? My name is Zach Childress, and I am your real estate coach. Why? Because I live it, I breathe it, I eat it, I do everything with it. You name it, I do it, okay? Only thing I don't do is taxes. I don't do, well, not that I don't pay taxes, but I just don't do tax certificates or anything like that. I like to just make the money right now, okay? So I share that with you because you need to know that if you want to know more about me, you need to get my book called My First Deal Playbook, myfirstdealplaybook.com. You can go get that right now. It is flying off the shelves. You can get it on Amazon. It's myfirstdealplaybook.com or Amazon. I need to tell you guys to get it on Amazon, don't I? Because that's where I need to send you to. I'm going to hit bestseller on Amazon. I'm only going to do it with your help. So listen, if you've already got the book, which a lot of you already do, you need to go over to ffflive.com/book review. Do me a favor. Tell other people about how much you like the book, okay? ffflive.com/book review. Other than that, I need you to go to Amazon and get the book. Get the book on Amazon. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I think I just saw my student jump on here. Mr. Robert Coop is in the house from Australia. Good job, Robert. See, some of you guys live right here in the same time zone. You won't even wake up and get on. So here's the deal. Today's message is all about single family versus small apartments. So I want to help everyone learn this. So if you're riding down the road listening to me on the radio, if you're listening to the podcast, take some notes. Well, if you're driving, I don't need you to take too many notes, but I'm going to split it up, okay? So the first session I want to talk to you about is why single families and why multi-units, okay? Here's why. You need cash flow. Point blank. You need it. You need to be able to go to bed at night and have cash flow coming in. That's what you need. You need to be able to know that when I'm sleeping, I'm making money. That's what you need. And you need multiple streams of cash flow. So how do you create that? You diversify your living. You diversify your financial understanding of money. You have to understand leverage. Leverage. So many people, and listen, let's just talk about one in particular, Mr. Ramsey. Love the guy. I think he does great. I think he has a world of knowledge, but I have to disagree with him on a few things. Only because I know how I've built my success over my lifetime and how I've gotten myself into the multi-zero figures of my financial net worth, and that's through the power of leverage. I am not a believer in paying off anything until you're on the back side of the leverage model. You've got to leverage to maximize your ultimate return on your dollars so that you can then get to a place of stability so you can start paying everything off. So I say that because I need you to understand the power of leverage. How does leverage come? It comes from lines of credits. It comes from credit cards. It comes from bank loans. It comes from HELOCs. It comes from business lines. If you don't go get it, you don't even know you got it. And so many people are like, well, I don't want to use a credit card. Well, I don't want to use a line of credit. Well, why not? You got to understand there's a thing called good assets and there's things called bad assets. For instance, you go out and buy a Land Rover for $80,000. Well, that's a bad asset. That's a negative asset. You go out and buy a rental house for $80,000 that's producing $300 a month in cash flow. That's a good asset. You understand? understand? And you buy both of them with leverage. You can leverage for a car loan or you could leverage for a house, but one of them produces great assets, which one of them produces cash flow. And the other leverage that you need to understand is the ability to leverage funding for your education. Because some of you need more education than you could have ever dreamed possible, but you're wondering, how am I going to pay for it? Leverage, my friend. That's the investment in yourself that no one can ever take away from you. You understand? You can't default on your own knowledge. You can't default on the amount of information that you receive and apply into the marketplace. There is no default on that unless you just choose not to do anything with the knowledge that you gain. So you have to understand there is good leverage and there's bad leverage. Bad leverage, what? Go buy a car with bad leverage, right? That's a bad leverage move. Good leverage, investing in your education, investing in assets that produce cash flow, that's good leverage. And so that's why we have to understand the power of single families and multi-units, because we have to be able to leverage to move into that process, because when we can leverage, we can grow faster. For instance, if I only had $50,000 and I went out and bought a $50,000 house, I'm done. I'm over. I'm kaput. There's no more. I can't do anything else. Do you understand? Like I've blown my wad right there. All my money's gone. It's all out there. It's in one house, and I have nothing else I can do with it. That's misuse of capital. You understand? Because I can't do anything else with it. It's in one property. Or now, two things. I could take that same $50,000. I could invest that into multiple properties by leveraging lines of credit, leveraging banks, leveraging partnerships, leveraging asset lenders, leveraging hard money lenders. I can leverage that $50,000 and I can spread it out across several different investments. So now I'm taking my wad of money and I'm putting a little bit in each property, and I'm leveraging institutional financing or lines or asset-based or hard money lenders so that I can maximize the return on that money. That's leverage. Or I can leverage it the best way possible. I can take some of it, leverage it into investments, take some of it, leverage it into my education so that I can personally get smarter and I can get my brain worked out through fitness of education, part of our 5F formula, right? And I can go out and learn how to maximize even more leverage in the marketplace. And see, that's the key. If you really want to understand the power of movement of money, it's leverage. It's leverage. And that's our show today. So, hey, listen, for all my podcast and radio, this is Zach Childress, and I'll be right back with the rest of the show. Facebook, what you got for me, man? What you got for me, Facebook? Talk to me. Talk to me, Facebook. Talk to me, Facebook.
So Patricia, she says, hi, I'm Patricia. I need to know also how to get started. It is also my lifetime dream.
So what?
Her lifetime dream to get started in real estate.
Oh, well, that's awesome, Patricia. Listen, real estate has always been a dream of mine. Even back before I knew it was, I always knew that it would have been nice as a kid when I was running around always thinking, man, I wish I had that house and wish I had that house. And so I just... I didn't realize how big of a dream it was for me until I got into it and started creating success from it. So that's a powerful thing. What other questions do we have?
We've got a lot coming through. So Stephanie Burnett, she said, hello, Zach. I talked to a student advisor yesterday, and I have a follow-up call today. And I have to say, me and my husband are really excited to start this journey, coming to you from Northwest Arkansas.
She's excited to start the journey?
Yeah. So,
good job.
Steve says, I'm really relocating back to an area we used to live in. We don't have a place yet. What would you suggest to do? Small apartment, a mobile home, or?
Steve's relocating.
Yep.
And he doesn't have what yet?
A place.
Like a place to live.
Right.
So he's asking, what should he do?
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you this, Steve. Anytime I've ever moved, even when I moved from California back to Alabama, I lease optioned a house. I'm not a fan of renting, only because I think it's a throwaway deal. So I lease option. And here's why. Because if I choose to stay, then I stay and buy the property, and I have financing in place. If I choose not to stay in that property, well, then I can sublease it out for rent cash flow, or I can go, if there's equity been built in it, I can turn around and sell it and have control of it that way through an option. That's my little bit of insight for you there, sir.
All right. So Ingrid, she says Coleman, with multiple units, if one person leaves, you still have other tenants paying the note. I'm not sure what that means.
I understand. She's basically saying that when you do small apartments, you can have more safety.
Right. She says she has a 4-unit with a $75,000 mortgage, and each door brings in $500 in rental income. My modified mortgage payment is $890 PITI.
Okay, so she's making $2,000 gross off the property, and she's got a debt service payment of $900 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're running kind of skinny on that deal. I don't know if I would keep that deal. I'd probably get rid of it. Because here's why. If you just let me see if I can get my mic over here working. So if you got $2,000. If you got $2,000 a month coming in on gross rents, right? I hope they can still hear me. $2,000 a month in gross rents, and you got to, whoa, look at that. I just dropped that thing down there. And you got $900 coming right off the top for debt services. What does that leave you? $1,100 a month, right? So now let's talk about this. You got $1,100 a month coming off of that, but what do we have to exclude? If you've got a multi-unit, which we're going to talk about some of this, there's things you've got to pay for, like landscaping, trash. So you probably got about another $150 a month coming off there. So now you got $950. You with me? So then what do we have? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? That's just secondary expenses, right? You've already got your tax, insurance, principal, interest, tax, and insurance here. But what else do we have? We got management fees, right? So I know some people say, well, I self-manage it. Well, I say you're wrong. You shouldn't self-manage. That's the worst. You're trading one job for the next, right? So now we're down to $750 a month off of that. Now what else you got? You got what? Reserves. You got to get your reserve account. So my reserve account's what? $300. Why is it $300? Because we use 15%. So what does that leave you with? $450. So if we break that down, now you're down to about $110 a door on a multi-unit, which isn't really that good. So what's 450 times 12? So let's just use 400. Make it easy.
450 times 12.
Use 400. Because I'm sure there's some other expenses that she's not telling us about.
4,800.
So you got $4,800 a year off of this thing. So the goal here is to figure out cash-on-cash return. What's the cash-on-cash return? So, you know, that's going to be based on what did you pay for this 4-unit. You know, if you're paying for, and I don't know where you're at, or if she's already left, or she's still talking to us, but
she says if your PITI is not equal to or more than 1% of your mortgage amount, walk, no cash flow.
Who is this? I mean,
her name is Ingrid M. Coleman.
Ingrid, listen, I'll teach you how to be an investor. The 1% formula is what agents teach people. It's the stupidest thing in the world, okay? So if that's what you're basing all your investments off of, I would probably run your entire portfolio and tell you to sell it all. Because that's why people get in a bad position, is they listen to this 1% factor. And that is about the most ridiculous thing in the world. You're talking to a guy who owns real estate from California to Florida and everywhere in between. I have an average of a 38% cash-on-cash return on my portfolio, and I never base that on a 1% factor. You can't. You have to run the numbers, and you got to figure out what your true cash is at the end. You have to figure out what your true cash is at the end.
And I would assume that if she's got a traditional loan or any sort of loan for $75,000, then she probably put 20% down. So she
Yeah, and so here's where other people make a mistake. Okay, is they pay cash for the building. So let's say that you're saying 90,000. So oh man, that's going to be horrible. That's already going to be. So if you paid 90,000 for the building, oh my gosh, do 4,800 times divided by 90,000.
0.05.
0.05%. You might as well leave your money in the savings account. I mean, that's a deal that I would get rid of in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even keep it in my portfolio. It'd kill you. It'd kill you. You can make more money in a savings account if you do it right. You're not even making 1% on this thing. So listen, here's my point with you guys. You guys can all go out and buy real estate all you want, but until you start to buy it right, I had a guy I'm working with right now, got over $2 million in the marketplace, and he's making literally 6% probably on his money, and it's the worst thing you could do. Like, if you're not making 15, 20, 25% on your money, you are in the wrong investments. That is point blank proven. I help people all over the world get this down and understand this, and this is why the class is so important today, okay? So listen to me when I say this. Anybody on this stream right now watching, if you're buying rental properties based on a 1%, well, are my rents 1% of the purchase price? Stop. Stop doing it right now. Just stop. Take that wrinkle in your brain and iron it out so that it's not there anymore, okay? And understand, if you want to be a true investor and learn how the power of moving money is, you need to move to what's called a cash-on-cash return formula. That's the only true way you'll ever learn what your money is making you per deal.
So Matthew Happ, you remember Matthew? He spent the weekend with us. He says he found a fourplex for $70,000, rents at our total $22.50. So that would be about $562.50 per door.
All right, give me the numbers. We got to go back. What is it?
It's $70,000.
70,000. Okay.
Okay, it's $562.50 per door.
562
50.
and 50 cents per door.
Yep.
It's a duplex.
4.
It's a fourplex.
Yep.
Holy cow.
I know.
Dude, I can tell you already that's a deal. That's
Huge
a deal.
deal.
That's a deal all day long.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll run that in just a minute, Matthew. Let me go back to the training today, okay?
Yeah, we're going to go back on air in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, welcome back. Zach Childers here. Sorry for the long break, but I'm back and we're live and we're doing this thing on Facebook. I hope you join me on Facebook, REISuccessacademy.com/Facebook. Get over there. We're running numbers while we're on break with you guys. You're missing it out. You're missing out on it. You're missing out on it. You're missing out on it. So here's the thing. We're digging into single families versus small multi-units and why you need to be building cash flow and the power of cash flow and how to get your money leveraged and how to move into the market. One of the things that came up that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was this whole 1% factoring. And listen, I don't blame you guys because that's what was taught to me when I first got started. And and it was the agents teaching me that. But what I realized real quick was, why was the agents teaching me that? Because they wanted to sell me the dadgum house. Right? So they were like, oh, here it is. It's 1%. You should buy it. No, guys. When I started doing that, I had the worst investments. When I learned how to move that understanding into what's called a cash-on-cash return formula was when I really started understanding the power of moving money. And that's what I want to share with you. Whether you're going after single families or whether you're going after multi-units, it has nothing to do with what you pay for the house, okay? Let me be clear on that. It has everything to do with how much you put in. This is where leverage comes in, okay? Leverage. So I share that with you because I want you to understand the difference. So single families. Let's start with single families. Why would single families be a good investment? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, single families have the ability to appreciate more than multi-units do. Multi-units appreciate in different types of markets transitions. Multi-units can appreciate during what we call hyper markets, and those are rare. I mean, those pop up and they go away, so they're transitional, and you got to catch them at the right time. Where single families have a tendency to always go up in value over time, and so it's like you buy it today, 15 years later, you own the property free and clear, and you're good. And that's the benefit of a single family. The other benefit of a single family is the financing is always so much easier. The other benefit of a single family, just so that you guys are keeping up with me, is that we don't have to incur a lot of the same secondary expenses. Remember, whenever we run our numbers for cash on cash return, there's 3 types of number groups that we need to make sure we're removing. Number 1 is primary expenses. Principal, interest, tax, and insurance on a property. Number 2 is always secondary expenses, and that's, are we paying for landscaping, dumpster fees, trash, utilities, cable, whatever the landlord has agreed to. And the third type of expenses is always going to be reserve accounts, so that we stay safe in the transaction. And so I share that with you because you need to really understand what a cash on cash return is and why you need to be basing your investments off of that, because it has everything to do with your money. You understand? It has everything to do with what your money is making you. That's what it has everything to do with. Nothing else, okay? Nothing else. It has everything to do with that. And so I share that with you because I need you in the right mindset if you're going to get into financial literacy and not just go out, stumbling over deals and buying them because your agent told you to buy them. And look, I don't have anything against agents. I just have everything against agents that are lazy and don't quite understand what investing is all about. They're in the business of selling houses. You're in the business of buying investments. You understand? That's what you're in the business of. I keep moving this mic, and I hope that it's not killing my sound. I hear him moving around in there.
No, he's quiet in there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it did it.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's gonna be cable number 6.
Is it going to be cable number 6?
Yeah, it'll be the 6 cables. This time I'm building new ones.
All right. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Is it gonna be cable number 6?
Oh, there we go. Okay. So the point of it is this. Is get in the game and understand cash on cash return. Once you understand that, then you're understanding the leverage and you're understanding financial literacy, okay? So for all my listeners, viewers, people that are on board, I want you to catch this real quick. Single families can have an advantage for you, one, because of price point, okay? So if you're just getting started and you don't have the ability to go after, $150, $200, $250, $300, $400,000 deal, then you can go after a $20,000 rental. You can go after a $30,000 rental or a $40,000 rental. You can go after those. And here's why. Because you need to use the power of leverage. So if I'm going to buy let's say a $35,000 rental, and they want 20% down. Well, I'm talking $7,000 out of pocket. You with me? $7,000 out of pocket. That's the beauty of that type of transaction, which means anytime you pay roughly $30,000 for a deal, leverage, not cash, leverage. $30,000 to $35,000 for a deal leverage, you need to be renting that door out for about $500 a month. That's something you need to write down. Okay? That's not a 1%. You understand? Where the agent will say, oh, well, if you buy it for $35,000, it needs to rent for $350,000. No, but BS. That's where you're going to get into the 8% returns, 9% returns. And look, some of you might even be happy with that, but I'm here to tell you that there are better deals out there if you look at what's going on in the market, and you have to go after them. You're not going to find them on the MLS. They're going to be out there for sale by owners. That's the reality, okay? So when we position it that way, then that's the way that we grow the business. So I'm telling you, leverage is how you make the cash king, okay? So if I go out and I leverage a single family residence, I really only have 2 expense factors. You ready for this? Where in multifamily, I have 3 expense factors, because in a single family, I'm not responsible for trash. I'm not responsible for landscaping or yard maintenance. I'm not responsible for any of that. That's the owner of the property. That's their responsibility. That's why they want to rent a house, right? Because they want the yard, so they have to take care of it. I don't have any houses that I rent out that I have to pay utilities or I have to pay cable or any of that stuff, okay? I don't. Now, I don't have a lot of houses, and I'll explain why later, but they are an easy entry into a market of rental portfolio, and you can still get great returns on those, okay? Because here's why. Look at it from this factor. If I have a house that's worth $60,000 and I can get it for $40,000 and I have to put 20% down, I'm $8,000 in the deal, but I've got instant equity. You don't normally run into that in small apartments. Most small apartments, you don't get a lot of equity in those types of deals, okay? But also, I have the ability with a single family to do what's called a refinance out of a single family a lot easier than I do a small apartment. So what does that mean? That means I can leverage to the max. Listen. So if all I have to my name is $40,000, if that's it, if that's all I got left over is $40,000, I would play the single family game in a refinance position all the way to the end. And let me explain why. Because I could take that $40,000 and I could go buy a house. And here's the other reason. A refinance is actually a huge leverage for you. And because when I go to purchase that $40,000 house, they're going to tell me that I have to put 20% down on the contract price, okay? Where when I refinance that $40,000 house, they're going to tell me they'll refinance me at 80% of appraised amount, okay? Two totally different numbers. I could get it appraised. It might be appraising for $55,000, which now means what? That I might be able to pull a loan out for $45,000, which means I'd get all my $40,000 back plus $5,000 in my pocket. So now I just made $5,000 to buy that house. And I can move the rental property forward because now what? I have zero money in that house. So when you have zero money in a house, you're not a cash-on-cash return anymore. You're an ROE. Write that down. Return on equity, okay? Return on equity. And that's what I'm basing my return on. Is the equity in the property. What's my return on that equity based on net cash flow annualized? And should I leave that equity in that property or should I sell that property and take that equity and go buy something else with it because I can get a higher rate of return on that equity? That's what you got to look at. So the refinance game, if I only had $40,000, that's exactly what I would do. I'd go out and buy $30,000 houses, $35,000 houses, $40,000 houses. I'd put a renter in them. I'd stabilize that rental property. I would, whatever the bank tells me. We have banks here locally that will do 30-day refinances. Some of you guys are in markets where they want 3, maybe 6 months. I'd stabilize that property. I'd refinance it, pull my money out, and go reinvest it. And here's why. Because let's say that they won't give me all my $40,000 back. Let's say I put 40 into a house and they only give me 35 back. Well, now I only have 5,000 in that house. You with me? So let's just assume that all that house does is give me $200 a month in net cash flow, net, after debt services, after reserve account. That's $2,400 a year, and if all I've got is $5,000 in that deal, that means I'm running at a 49% cash-on-cash return for that deal. Are you with me? So in 2 years, I've got my money out of that deal. So now I got $35,000 to go after another house, buy it, wait 3 months, refinance it, get my $35,000 back. Now I've got another property, and I'm still rolling the same money that I started with when I started the game of building my rental portfolio. So single families have a huge benefit. The other thing about single families that you'll run into also is the tenants will stay longer. The tenants stay longer because they don't have to deal with riffraff next door or who you're renting to and so forth. And that's a big play in single families. But there's some downsides to single families. The downside is you got them spread all over town. You got house here, house there. If you need roofs fixed, you got 5 roofs you got to fix instead of 1. If you got landscaping on all 5 houses, you got landscaping. I mean, the keeping up with it becomes harder and harder to do over time. You got taxes on every single houses. I mean, it becomes a portfolio management process where you have to really, really work on it to where you know, if you get into 60, 70, 80 houses, you got a lot going on, to where if I've got, you know, let's say I got 10 small apartments with 4 units in it, well, I got 40 units under 10 roofs instead of, you know, 40 houses spread out. So, anyways, single families I'm a fan of. I'm especially a fan of single families for entry level, especially if you're just starting out with a little bit of money. But you got to leverage it. You got to leverage it, guys, and get away from this 1% theory. Like, just do that. I'll be right back with you guys. This is your real estate coach, Zach Childress. What else we got coming in, Jill?
We've got a few questions coming in.
All right, let's nail them. Oh, let's do this deal with him. It's going to be a killer deal. So 562 times 4 is what?
Oh, it's $22.50.
$22.50 times 12.
1 second, I got my calculator closed out here. You kill me on my math and my calculator.
Boom.
27,000.
27,000. So we got 27,000 in gross rents coming in. Now here's the thing: we need to know if he's going to leverage that. 20% is 14,000 out of pocket, which means he's at 56,000 financed. So take 56,000, Jill, and times it by 0.007. What do you get?
You said 56,000
Yeah.
times by what? 0.007?
That's right.
392.
300 times 12. 392 times 12.
4,704.
4,700. Okay. Then the other thing we have to think about is taxes and insurance. Taxes on this property is probably going to be around, I don't know.
He's up north, so probably.
Yeah, maybe 2,000 a year. Insurance is probably about 1,500 a year. Okay, so that's our primary expenses. So we're talking 7, 5, 6, 7, 20, carry 1. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4. So we're at 4,500. Okay. All right. So now we've got secondary expenses. So the only thing we can assume, this is a multi-unit, it's a 4-unit, so he's going to have yard maintenance. He's probably got some trash he's got to pay. So I can only assume it's going to be about $3,000 a year for secondary. So that's $8,500. And then we have a reserve account. So reserve account of $2,700 is 27 plus 13, 7, 23, 4. So we're talking another $4,000 in a reserve account, which gives him a total of
$11,800 a year.
$11,800 a year in expenses. So subtract that.
Oh no, sorry. I was subtracting all of that from the 27,000, so that would be his profit.
Oh, his profit would be $11,800. You're ahead of me, Jill. Look at you. Look at you, Jill, getting ahead of me.
Test me.
So then I want you to look at that rate of return, guys. This is why I'm telling you, look at the cash on cash return, okay? So you take 11,800 divided by 14,000, which is if he leverages the bank, this is the type of return you'll get.
Which would be a 84% cash on cash return.
84% cash on cash return. 84% cash on cash return. That, my friend, is a deal. Who is that, Matt?
Matt Happ, yep.
So if anybody on here would like a 70% rate of return, you need to reach out to Matt, because here's why I'd tell Matt to flip that to you for $80,000. He makes 10. You step on this deal, there's no way you're going to go wrong on that deal. So, Matt, good job, buddy. Way to listen, buddy. You was at the event with me this weekend.
And Brian is his coach.
And Brian is his coach. That's right. Making things happen with people. Give me some more questions for real estate.
Steve says, financing is easier on a single family than a multifamily. Can you explain more?
Because it's cheaper.
Okay.
That's why.
So then Solidal said, Steve, you can't find asset-based lending financing for a multifam? Question mark.
No, you can. You can. It's just expensive. But the point is single families, you know, so that there's two points to the equation. Equation number one is banks like multi-units, okay? And here's why. It's risk management for them. If one unit is vacant, you don't run out. We're going to talk about this in the next section of our call today. But banks also, like when you're brand new, they don't want to just put you in a multi-unit for $150,000, $200,000 because there's a risk to that with you and you acquiring the money. So for them, if you're going to look at a $30,000 house that rents for $600 a month, that right there is an easy deal for them to fund you on, especially if it's a bank in your local market and they know the area. So that's why.
All right, we got to go back live. Or
Well,
on air.
what about some of these other questions?
The only one that's there is Solid L. There are some that will loan up to 5 units, as long as it is a profitable deal. Thank you for your thoughts. I don't have. Oh, here we go. I didn't post on this side. In your opinion, what profit margin would you consider reasonable?
It depends on where you are. Here's what I always say. That's a great question. Who asked that?
I can't say his name.
Okay.
Jinma?
Juma. So margins, it has everything to do with you. Okay. There's two folds to that answer. And answer number one is this. What kind of returns are you making on your money right now? That's the first thing you got to ask yourself. So if you've got rental properties, you need to run them and see how much cash did you put in them and what are you really making and what's your return on them? And are you satisfied with that? That's the first question you got to ask yourself. I would always tell anybody that I work with, and I work with people all over, that if you're not making a minimum of 15% on your money in the market, then you need to reassess your portfolio. You need to reassess your movement because you can get in the market and do a lot more. And the good thing is when we go into the next section, I'm going to talk about the good and the bad of small apartments, is that you can get residential financing for small apartments. As long as it's 4 units and below, it's considered residential. So, you can move into those and gain some from it. So, but at the end of the day, you need to look at it from a personal point of view. What am I making on my money right now? I know guys out there with millions of dollars in the market making 5%, making 4%, making 6%. And it's horrible. It's horrible. I mean, it's horrible. Even when somebody comes to me and listen to me. I know people that have millions of dollars in the market making 8%. Why in the world they would do that, I have no clue. They might as well just be a private investor and send me their money. Because here's why. They not only are making 8% on the real estate, but they got to deal with all the headaches, the liabilities, the lawsuits that come from it, all that stuff for 8%. So why would you do that? Why? I wouldn't do it. I would just be a private investor. I would just put my money out there and make 8% and not have to worry about any of the headaches. So that's the thing you have to think about. So
Ingrid says, don't 4 units qualify as a residential mortgage loan?
just said that.
Yep, Steve said, Ingrid, yes, up to 5 units are considered residential.
Yep, that's absolutely right.
So I have a question here from Misty.
Okay.
She's basically wanting to run over her deal if you...
Okay, well, let's do that one next. Then
Okay.
we'll wrap up the radio show.
All right, so we are going to go back on air in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, it's Zach Childress, and I'm back. I hope you've gathered up enough information to realize if you like single families or not. But ultimately, I hope you've gotten the message that I'm trying to create here today, and that is leverage. Leverage is power. Leverage is king. Leverage creates cash flow like nobody's business. And if you will leverage and learn to leverage, you'll maximize the money that you do have and be able to create more money from your money. Don't pay cash for something unless your strategy is the refinance, okay? Now, I want to help. We're going to end the show with you guys on the radio and on podcast with small apartments and why those are good and why they're bad, okay? And listen, I'm not here to tell you to do one or the other. I'm just here to lay out the good and the bad of both of them. I own both. I own small apartments. I own big apartments. I own commercial. I own land. I own single families. You name it, I own it. But you need to know, right? You need to know. You need to create the life that you want by creating the strategies that work for you. And so I encourage you that, listen to this. Also, if you want, you need to jump over to my Facebook page and hear the rest of the story. I share it over there. So I want you to follow me when I say this, that when it comes to small apartments, there are some benefits. The benefits, number one, with a small apartment is that you have some risk management there, right? What does that mean? That means that if you have a vacancy, well, The good is I got 3 other units if I'm looking at a fourplex. And small apartments are typically around that 2, 3, and 4 units, okay? They fall under what's called residential financing. You can typically get them for, in our market, we can get loans for 10 to 15% down. And in some markets, they won't do that. They'll only require 20% down. But I also encourage you to find small banks that help with knowing the power of small apartments too, and they know your area. So I want you to look at it from that point of view. Well, if I go into small apartments, then if one person moves out, I'm good, right? Yeah, you're good. You just lose less cash flow, but that's why you got to have a reserve account. We talked about the 3 different, numbers you got to run: primary expenses, secondary expenses, and reserve account. So if you do have a vacancy, that reserve account pays you now instead of you losing money from a vacant property, okay? So that's the good. The other good is you have actual less buildings, okay? So you don't have as many insurance policies, you have less tax bills to keep up with, an accounting process. It's much easier. It's a lot better for you. So there's benefits in the small apartment. And also it gives you the experience to learn how to manage buildings so that you can move into bigger buildings. It is the next step. So those are definitely some benefits of it. I own them. I own a bunch of small apartments. I make a good living off of them. And, why is that? Because, we buy them cheap and we leverage them to death. I mean, we leverage them to where we have very little money in them. Most of the banks we work with, we're allowed to get into these small apartments with 15% down. And if I'm buying them for $100,000, I'm putting $15,000 into them. But at the end of the day, I'm able to net out of those deals, close to $6,000 a year. So if I'm putting $15,000 into it and I'm netting out $6,000 a year, well, you can see why my portfolio is running at that 35, 38, 40% return on my money. And so that's something. Now, there are some downsides to small apartments, and some of those downsides is that, it's the tenant quality, right? The tenant quality can be a little bit lower. And sometimes if you've got a good tenant in Unit A and you got a bad tenant in Unit B, well, the Unit A one doesn't want to live there anymore. So you've got to really be able to manage personality types, tenant quality, and it creates a little bit more of a challenge in that aspect. But, you can get a big boom with small apartments if you buy them right and sell them in what's called a hyper apartment market, which we're in one right now, by the way. If you was going to sell any of your small apartments, this would be the time to sell them. The prices are flying out of the roof right now. Where the ones we've bought for 60, 80, 100,000 are now selling for 160, 170 out there in the market right now. So, there's a lot of gains and a lot of benefits from that. Some of the other stuff that you need to consider is that you got one roof, right? You got everything's under one roof. Now, the other things, the other side you also got to remember is in small apartments you have more expenses. There's no way around it. You got to keep up with the land and the yard and the bushes. You got common area that you have to keep up with, stairs, porches that you got to make sure that if you've got a building with 4 doors on the front, usually you got stairs going up the front with landing spaces. You got to keep up with all that. Those are things you got to be aware of. The other thing is usually trash. You got to have a dumpster out there. These are extra expenses that you have to be aware of when you move into small apartments. It's just the nature of the beast. And also you got to make sure you have the right property management company. See, there's a lot of management companies that don't want to work with small apartments. They want to stay with single families because a single family house is easier to manage for them, okay? There's some management companies that want to charge you more for small apartments because of why? The turnover rate can be higher. And you just got to make sure you manage for that correctly. You got to make sure you buy them right. One of the strategies with small apartments is to always buy them to where you're getting the loan so that you're closing at the end of the month so that your loan gets pushed out for 45 days. So you get all that first month's rents for free, plus you get all the security deposits from the old landlord, and you're now ahead. Now you have a reserve account moving into the deal of literally a whole month. And so now you're setting yourself up for success with a reserve account. So those are some things that you want to be aware of when you're dealing with small apartments versus single families. And so I hope that you get the message today, which is not to go buy small apartments, not to go buy single families, and not to not do either one of them. But it is which one works better for you. Because, see, when you go after small apartments, you got to pay more for them. I mean, it's just the way it is. You're buying 4 doors, or you're buying 3 doors, or you're buying 2 doors. You know, so if you've got a market where you can pick up $30,000-$40,000 houses that rent for $500 or $600, and then you say, okay, well, I want to move into a small apartment, and you're going to now buy 4 of those in one shot. Well, you're talking $125,000, $160,000 in some cases, right? You got to make sure the rents are in line with that. So it takes more money. So where I could buy a $35,000 house for, you know, $7,000 out of pocket, I go now to go buy a small apartment, I'm going to pay $140,000. Well, now I got to come out of pocket $20,000, $25,000, $28,000. Well, that's where you got to be ready for that move. You got to be ready for that. Also, you got to be ready for that move too, because if you buy it and it has deferred maintenance, you're not just fixing one water tank, you're fixing 4 of them. You know, you're not just fixing, you know, one dishwasher, you're fixing 4 dishwashers. So you got to make sure that you're prepared for that move and you're ready to go into it. So that's my message for you today, is not to not do anything, but it's to do something that's in congruence with your financial ability and how to maximize that and leverage that to the maximum. Single family versus small apartments. It's your choice. But whatever you do, do something. This is Zach Childress, your real estate coach. I'll see you next week on the next radio show or podcast with your real estate investing talk show. Hey, and listen to this. When I'm done with you, I'm moving over to Facebook to answer questions. So you need to be on my Facebook page. REISuccessacademy.com/Facebook. This is Zach Childress. See you next time. All right, Facebook. What you got for me?
We had a question, and she said, okay, I'm getting it. You answered my question, Zach.
Awesome, Toby. Hey, listen, if you like today's show, just type in, Zach, I get it, I get it, I get it. Type it in for me. Let me know you're feeling it. Let me know you're digging it. I get it. Type it in. I get it, Zach. I get it. Let me know. I can't see you. I tell you to raise your hands, but I can't see you. Type in, I get it.
So.
Hold on. Get them to type it first. Type in, I get it.
Oh, so Soladel, she said, is Zach not the man or what?
Zach, I get it and dig it. Oh, that's Kevin Gannon.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
Look at that. Way to go, Kevin. Seeing him on my Facebook page. Way to go, Kevin. All right, I'm getting some I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. Good. Keep it coming. I like to know that you guys are getting it. At least you're hearing the message. Because, see, there's benefits in both of them. Do you understand? Like, there's benefits in both. And at the end of the day, you should be diversifying. I own small apartments and single families. I don't own as many single families as I do small apartments, but I own them both because there's a diversification there.
We got Rob on here, too. He says, I get it. Steve says, I get it. Tony from this past weekend says, I get it.
Good.
Rick says, I get it. Don from this past weekend says, I get it. Lou says, I get it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Rudy, he says, I get it.
Good, Rudy.
Antonio. Brenda.
I get it and got it.
Brenda said, oh, yeah, you took over my job.
I'm sorry. My brain just keeps rolling here.
I know, right? I'm trying to keep up and make sure I don't miss somebody. Let's see here. Verda is on here, and she says, I get it. Jinama says, I get it. Robin says, I get it. Oscar says, I get it. Ooh, Jasmine Del Rosario is on here.
Jasmine?
Tommy says, I get it.
Awesome.
Bill says, I get it.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, listen, for all my super fans on here and all my fans that have gotten my book, if you do not understand when I keep saying get this book, I need you to, because it's a good book. Steve even said it in one of the comments that it's not just the basics. It's really what you need to know. You need to get my book, okay? It's on Amazon right now. Do me a favor, go over there, get the book. I'll pay for the book. All I'm going to ask you to do is pay the fee so that I can cover the cost of shipping and handling. But the book can be yours if you just pay the shipping and handling. But for those of you that have the book, do me a favor, man. Do me a favor. Go to, it's pinned on the comment section. Go to FFF, that's FFFlive.com. /book review. Go do that. Give me a review on the book. I'm going to be pushing that review link probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks just because I want more and more reviews on there.
So Bill, he says, I have $40,000 and I want to buy a multi-unit in Toledo, Ohio with leverage. How can you help me?
I just told you how, Bill. Where you been?
He could call in and talk to a student advisor.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just shared the whole message on how to leverage $40,000. You got to go. First off, if you only got $40,000, the first thing you need to do is go to that market and figure out which lending institutions will work with you and what their requirement is for down payment. Let's say you find one that wants 20% down. Well, then you know that you have to find a multi-unit that's $200,000 or less so that you can cover the down. I would suggest you get less than that, around $150,000, so that you only have to come out of pocket $30,000, which gives you $10,000 for any fix-up cost. But that's just getting into it. You also got to validate and make sure the cash-on-cash return is going to be legitimate for you, meaning what? The rents on those doors are going to be enough to cover all 3 expense factors and still leave you with a cash flow that's going to be sustainable enough divided by the amount of cash you invested to give you the return you're looking for.
All right, so let's move into Misty.
Stephanie said she did the review. Good job, Stephanie. Good job.
Toby said, hi, Bill. Call the office and speak to an advisor. Call today, Steve.
Very true. Very true.
And then Steve said, we're really growing. Keep creating the ripples.
Man, Steve, tell him, brother, this is what it's all about. I'm sharing the knowledge. I'm putting the message out there, but I need you guys to continue that message. I need you to keep hitting that share button and get it out there. Let other people hear it. I guarantee you there's somebody out there that wanted to hear this message today, and you're the roadblock if you didn't share it to them. That's right. You're the roadblock. You're the roadblock. I get emails all the time from other people asking me, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like, Zach, what are you doing? What are you doing? Wow, you should be selling that information. Hey, man, I got stuff I'll sell you. You probably need it. I got all kinds of things that will help you grow, but that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to help you, help me share the message, right? That's why I'm doing it. But I need you on board with me.
Alrighty, so Misty's deal.
Talk about Misty's deal.
Her very, very first deal.
Her very, very first deal.
Okay, so she says, we've recently moved forward with our first deal. We have it under contract for $130,000. The asking price was $146,000, and the ARV is $185,000.
Oh, well, hold on. I should have been writing that down. What's the ARV?
$185,000.
$185,000. Okay. How much is the remodel?
They're under $20,000.
Remodel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. What else do I need to know?
They have it under contract for $130,000. You got that?
$130,000. They have it under contract for $130,000.
Yep.
Okay.
They are planning to fix it up and rent it for $1,200 to $1,500 a month.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
She said, any suggestions on finding financing for minor repairs needed to make this property rentable?
Yeah, if you need repair money, go to prosper.com. Tell them you want to do a home remodel loan, and then they'll give you up to $35,000.
And then she said, is this the right decision?
Well, I'm about to tell you what you don't want to hear. All right, let's look at this. So you're buying it for $130,000. How much was the loan amount, Missy?
It would be the full $130,000. They got 100% financing for it.
Oh, so they came out of pocket, no money?
No money.
Oh, well, that changes the game. Okay. So you got $130,000 out of pocket, or no, you got $130,000 loan, no money out of pocket. Let me just be clear. Can you get her to type in the answers? What I'm asking you is how much of your money are you going to have to pay? Plus, I want to know of the $130,000, what's your payment on it? Come on now. I got to go pick some kids up from school. You got to get going here, Missy. Is she even on here?
Yep.
Can we call her?
I mean, yeah, we could.
Let's call her. Let's get her on the phone. I think that might be faster.
Yeah.
Alex says, how much is the first deal playbook? The book is free. You just got to pay the shipping and handling. I think it's like $5 or $6 or $7, something like that.
$5.95.
I don't know. Amazon puts it at a different price point.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I think it's like $6 and some change, maybe. Misty, what's your phone number?
I'm looking her up. She ain't gonna get away from me.
You got her?
Yeah.
All right. Misty, we're about to call you. Answer your phone. And then just put her on speakerphone by your speaker or your microphone, Joe.
I feel like we're on the radio and
We're
about to give
putting
away a
our
prize
first
package.
phone call on the radio. You need to hold it underneath the
Hello.
Misty,
Hi there.
can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, Misty, good to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Lots of knowledge coming out today.
Hey, so talk to me real quick. On the $130,000 loan to buy the property, what's your payment on there?
Well, they're saying around 12 to 1300.
$1,200 is what they're telling you your principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment is?
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's the cost of, right? It cost $130 to buy it, and they're loaning you the $130 to buy it, correct?
Right.
That's a very expensive. You're paying high interest on that one, obviously. So then your out-of-pocket money would be the repairs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's about $20,000, and you're saying that you don't want to pay that out of pocket because you'd rather go borrow it, correct?
Right.
So if you went and got $20,000 off of Prosper, you're going to be paying somewhere around 12 to 15% interest on that money. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you look at that, that's 1% a month for the money. So 1% of 20,000 is $200 extra a month. So that moves your payment up to about $1,500 a month if you borrowed that money. So my next question is how much will the house rent for?
Well, we were saying around 1200 to 1500 per month.
You'd lose money on the deal, bud.
Okay. That's all I needed to know.
Yep, you'd lose money on the deal.
Well, we were trying to figure out the best way to do that, and your with your live video today with the leveraging, it made sense.
Yeah, you got to
It made a lot
leverage
of
this
sense.
deal. Now, if you leverage this deal, let's say you got $1,200 a month, and you could go to the bank and leverage it, and only have to put 20% down. That means you're $26,000 into the deal. And even if you went and borrowed the $20,000 from like a Prosper, that means you're not using that money, but that's an extra $200 a month in payment. If you go to a bank and leverage $26,000 on a $130,000 purchase, leaves you with a 104 loan, you'd probably have a payment of about $800 a month plus the Prosper $20,000 loan. That puts you at $1,000 a month. Then now you're starting to build a spread in there. If you could get $1,500 a month on the rents, you follow me? So now you're starting to make some money. So which means that if I'm $26,000 into this thing, and let's just say I can get $300 a month off this property times 12, you're talking now, $3,600 a year. So then take $3,600 and you divide that by 2,600, and now you're going to see what your return would be even at that rate. And I don't know if it's going to be where you want, but what's the return, Jill?
Hang on, I'm
3,600 divided by 2,600. It's going to be probably 11 or 12%.
1.38.
That's not right. Take 3,600 divided by 26,000.
13.8%.
So now you're talking 13% return on your money, but we didn't even factor in any reserve accounts. So I think if you pushed a reserve account in there, you'd probably be looking at a 9% return on your money. I think that if you had the cash reserves to go in and do the financing, there's a lot of different angles I could take with you. My point is if you're 100% leveraged on this deal, you're probably going to go underwater every month unless your intention is to, you've got $50,000 of equity in it. So the intent, I think, would be get it and sell it if you could to gain the $50,000. So now you've got more money in reserves that you could leverage better for more deals down the road.
Okay, got you. Well, now, like I said, the repairs are minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably just needs a coat of paint. The carpets need to be replaced. And that's pretty much it.
Then why don't you flip it, Misty?
Well, that's what I was asking. Do you suggest flipping it instead of renting it out for that income?
100%. I would. This is not a rental deal. This would be a flip all day long. Take that money and then use that money to go do another one, and then take some of that money and then buy a better rental, and then go do another one. Take some money off of that next flip, go buy another rental, then go do another one, and take some, and just keep building it.
Okay. Wonderful. That's what I needed to know.
All right, Misty.
I was at most of the night, and we were discussing what the best option was, and of course all this stuff is processing in my mind in the middle of the night. And I thought, yeah, something's not right with this. I need to talk to Zach. So I called, and I actually left a message for Jill, and then I called back, and I talked to I think a technical supervisor, and he transferred me back over to Jill.
Good. Hey, I like the tenacity there.
Do what?
I said I like the tenacity.
Well, I mean, we're nervous. This is our first deal.
I understand.
So,
well, listen,
sure
I'm glad you got on Facebook. Then I'm glad we were able to talk. So my suggestion would be put $5,000-$6,000 into it, sell this thing, make $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 off of it, and just take that money and keep rolling it and do more.
Okay, so you're saying do the 100%. You're saying do the 100% loan, and then just put the $5,000 or $6,000 in it and flip it.
That's right. Just that way, okay. All your profits on that is infinite because you have no money in it except for the $5,000 or $6,000. But let's say you do the $5,000 or $6,000, you're talking 18% off of that. Let's say 15. That's 8. That's 170. You're paying 30 for it. 5, 6, 7, 40. So now you got 40,000 in projected profits. You've got, let's say you got 6 months of hold time, so you got 8,000 off of there. So now you're down to 32,000. You put let's say you put 8,000 into it. So now you're at 32. Now you're at 20. What is that? 24. So now you're down to 24,000. So you could make 20 to 25,000 on this deal that now you can go into another deal with, and then another deal, and start to build your portfolio. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You don't know how much anxiety you just relieved.
Well, that's why I'm your real estate coach right here live on Facebook. Misty, thanks for joining us for the show. Hope you have a lot of success. Let us know how it turns out, okay?
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am. See you next Tuesday.
Thanks, Misty.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We just took our first live call. We're rolling out early on our calls. So, hey, everybody, I got to get rocking and rolling here. I've enjoyed you all today. If you've enjoyed this show today, tell me, do it again, Zach. Just type it in there. Do it again, Zach. We're going to start taking more calls. I think calls are important. I think calls are how we help people. I like the whole live call stuff. So I think we're going to start doing more of those. So just tell me, let's do it again, Zach. Let's do it again, Zach. Let's do it again. Let's see. Do it again, Zach. I like that. Hashtag. Misty, what are you going is great. Awesome, Misty. Look at it. I love how everybody talks to everybody on here. That's awesome.
So you've created some questions here about prosper.com.
Can't do it. Time's out. Can't do it. Time's out. I got to get some kids from school. They're going to be standing on a curb wondering where their daddy's at. So, all right, listen, you guys, I love you guys. Remember, share this message. Share it, share it, share it, share it. Please share the message. Other people need to hear it. I'll see you guys again tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern Time Zone on our Dig Deeper show. Let's see what you're made of tomorrow. Dig deeper, dig deeper. Come with your challenges, come with your concerns, come with your obstacles. Let's break through them tomorrow, okay? Until then, this is Zach Childress. I am your real estate coach. Get it, got it, good. See you next week on the Real Estate Talk Show. But for a lot of you, I'll see you tomorrow on the Dig Deeper show. Zach Childress, I'm out.